Hey everybody, how's it going? This video is about my Nikon Coolpix S6800 camera. I've had this for 3 years now, I think. And it's been a good little camera. It's got 16 megapixels, 12x zoom, HD movie, and it's got some Wi-Fi thing that I never used. It's a 54mm lens, if I understand that being how it works. And I think that's the video aspect ratio. I really don't know. I got this camera as a birthday gift from my ex-girlfriend, and it's been pretty good. It had this quirk for a while where it would reject memory cards, and sometimes it still rejects memory cards. Most of the memory cards I've ever purchased have been like this, where it's an adapter, and then it's hard to do this one-handed. It's been one of these little micro SD cards that goes in the adapter. And one problem that I had with it recently is I recorded some video with it, and I recorded it all the way until it said that the battery was exhausted, although if you turn it on, see, it says this card cannot be used, but if you look at the battery meter there, it's not completely exhausted. So generally what happens is, at that point I take the card out, I put another one in, or I move what's on the card into the computer, and then I go to put the card back into the camera, and then it pops up with, this card cannot be used. So that's a quirk that I'm kind of sick and tired of. So I'm going to be looking for a new camera soon, and yeah, I know that there's a way to transfer stuff onto the computer where you use these ports here, but you think I can find the cable most of the time? No. That's why I hardly take pictures anymore, because this acts up, and then there's the issue, of course, with the not being able to charge it because I can't find the cable most of the time. Like, seriously, I can't put anything down in my house without somebody touching it and it getting misplaced. So I'm giving up on this camera. The Wi-Fi thing I don't know how to use, and it would probably just be more trouble than it's worth anyways, because my wireless router at home is garbage. I don't know how to buy a new one, set it up, and have it work, especially when it seems like the phone company has to come every few months, like 2 or 3 times a year, and change out the router that we have. And I think that, perhaps that's a result of damage that may be inflicted upon it from such shitty service. But it's not me that makes that decision of who we have for a service provider. So, actually, this whole series of videos that I've been making lately, of the house sitting and all that, have been using my phone as a hotspot, as I've often said. And that's worked out pretty well. But also, too, when I'm at home, I often need to get out of the house, and then that said, it doesn't give time for there's just a whole bunch going on, and I've got to I've got to come up with a plan for replacing this camera as well as my laptop, because my laptop has this quirk for some reason. When I use Windows Movie Maker, because that's all I've got, I'll load the card into the computer, I'll load the files off of the card onto the computer itself, and then I'll start to load those into Movie Maker, and while it's processing to get all those files into Movie Maker, once they're all loaded, or sometimes even before they're all loaded, and just some of them are loaded, and I want to start editing, the earlier clips, what happens is the computer just loses sound in all regards, and I can't just stop what I'm doing at that point and say go watch a YouTube video and listen to it, or play a game and listen to it. It just loses all sound, and I don't know why. So it's I bought it in 2011, so it's getting up there in age, and time to replace it. Sucks it's going to have to be Windows 10, and also it sucks that to get around the same specs, I'm looking at having to spend $1,000. So between a new computer and this, that's like $1,200, $1,100 or $1,200 to be spending. Luckily, this camera here, my Canon HFR 700, I believe, is giving me no problems. So that's good. I'm impressed enough with this camera that the next point and shoot I buy, I think, is going to be a Canon, and I won't be a Nikon guy anymore. My last Nikon, I still have it, but I don't use it anymore. It got a piece of dirt somewhere, like the final lens before you take a picture that all the light travels through, like right near the shutter. There's a piece of dirt on it. So there's a speck of dirt that shows up in every single picture in the same spot, and it doesn't matter if the camera's zoomed in or out. It's always the same. So I figure that's what it has to be. That, and there's a line going across the screen. At least that one I got more use out of it than I did this one. But what I'll probably do with this one is I'm going to give it to my mom, because she likes this camera, and she also doesn't change out cards very often. She'll have 3 or 4 years worth of pictures on a single card, and just never change them out or get them developed or anything. They're just there on the card, which is not a good idea, but that's a little easier to deal with than every time I go to load pictures into the computer, finding a cord or removing the card and then having to mess around with it afterwards in order to get it to work. Yep, it's too bad. It's too bad. But I can get a similar camera, I guess. Maybe I'll look at Best Buy today, I'm not sure. Anyways, thank you for watching. Feel free to leave comments if you have any, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.